Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Such a busy room already. It's great to see so many faces here. I'm really looking forward to taking a look at the three different areas that you all voted on today. I know, Paulo. We're going to be looking at adjusting to changes in your life, career and money, and then also improving intimacy and communication. And I basically worked with both the YouTube members. I'm going to put Apollo down so we can focus, and also my Patreon members to put up a poll and just see what you were interested in talking about during this bonus reading today. So these were the most popular. Some of them have shifted a little bit since I announced it, but still, I think the only thing that I might cover in the future is health and well-being. That popped up a little bit higher on Patreon, but for the most part, those were the top three. So I can't wait to take a look at all of these and see what's coming through for all of us today. And just a couple of notes here. First of all, I'm going to do my traditional end of month collective on Sunday. So if you like what you see here and you'd like to get more of a general energy kind of pulse on everything that's going on in your life, join me on Sunday. And that'll be the last reading of this month that I'll be doing. And then probably next Thursday, I'll be starting up the next round of videos. But today is very special where I wanted to basically reach out to you and ask for some feedback on things that you wanted to improve. So a little bit different from the usual focus here, but fun. That's what this bonus one is. It's a little bit more flexible. Let's talk a little bit about the format today. Obviously, I'll be looking at those three areas. I still like to start with channeled messages. So that's part of the reason I was a couple minutes late here. I wanted to make sure that I had everything sorted out as I was getting ready here. So a bunch of new messages coming through for you this morning. We'll start with those channeled messages. Then we'll move along to the specific areas of your life that we're going to look at today. And within each of those, as appropriate, I'll probably do a Celtic cross and then look at health, wealth, love, and destiny within those particular realms. So yeah, let's get started, okay? Before I do, first of all, I want to welcome everyone. It's great to see, like I said, so many people here so early. I pinned my website up in the top comment there in case you want any information about me, upcoming videos, previous videos. You can find all of it on my website. I'll be kind of intuitively picking the decks today that I'll be using, so I'll do my best to identify them, but you can also go to my website and I list the ones that I use frequently there. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can do that as well. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh on most social media platforms and Ashbaugh on Twitter, and I will send reminders there. For everybody that's here that wants to show support, especially for all the different decks that I'm using, you can use Super Chat. I see we already have a lot of great stickers, and I recognize a bunch of members here already. So from here, you can send a sticker or even join the channel if you would like to. And one of the perks is readings like this. I will ask for input from time to time, and you can affect what I'm doing here. So thank you and welcome to all my members. And let's get started, okay? And thanks to Maria too, she's my moderator and she'll be helping out today. Okay, so let's begin with your catalyst. And I neglected to bring my iPad over. I'm gonna do that right now. And we'll talk a little bit about the two main things that are coming through. The first one here is we just got through a supermoon. With the supermoon, basically the moon, it has sort of this elliptical orbit around us. And at certain points, it's a little bit closer than others. We've had a bunch of supermoons. This is the last one of the year. So yesterday was the supermoon. It was called the strawberry moon. We'll talk about that in a second. The other energy that came through was that of a pelican. And let me just see if I can pull up a picture while we're talking, because they are a beautiful bird. One of the things that they are known for is the expandable throat, which I think is going to play an important role for all of us and kind of finding our voices, if you will, in this moment in time. So let's just pull up a picture of a pelican and then I'll get started in what we're talking about. Yeah, we'll go from there. So here on the West Coast, we have like a brown pelican. I think that other parts of the country, they're different colors, but just a gorgeous bird. And it's amazing how much room basically they can make in that throat for the fish that they're catching. And as a sort of symbol of the throat chakra, I think this is a really cool bird as well. So like I said, they do have different colors. Some of them have different colored beaks, throats. Here on the West Coast, they're more of the kind of boring brown ones, but nonetheless, beautiful and interesting animals. So let's talk about what their messages are for us. So let me just put this over here and let's chat. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the full moon since it just passed. The full moon on Thursday was the last one of 2021. We're still going to feel the energy of this, however, until about Saturday. The moon is still going to look pretty full, even though it's starting to wane a little bit. The supermoon occurs when that elliptical orbit is just a little bit closer. Sometimes it seems really far away, sometimes it seems really close. You hear in the movie Moonstruck about the guy talking about the big moon. That's what he was really talking about, was when it's closer to the planet. Energetically, this is important, and we're still feeling the effects. I'm sure many of you have had wild dreams over the past couple nights. It's not an accident. The moon brings us closer to dreams, desires, and emotions. Those emotions can run the gamut. Sometimes they are really, really, high and amazing. Sometimes it can bring out the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty. So what you want to amplify, what you're trying to amplify is the sort of positive. We want to think of cards like the 4 and the 5 of Cups, which teach us lessons about perspective. So when we are triggered and remember or think about something that can be a little bit less sort of like safe feeling or whatever, what we want to see is like, first of all, why am I triggered? What can I do about this? Is it really as bad as it seems, or is this just something that came forth to help me see how I can improve my life? And it's usually the latter, as we know. Use this moment in time to reflect, to try to relax, and to start to manifest what you're dreaming about, what you're desiring. So if this is a satellite or an amplifier, the moon right now, let's bounce out the positive. Let's bounce out the dreams, the hopes, the positive possibilities, right? Not the, oh my gosh, this isn't going to happen. Oh my gosh, what if this takes place? I think all of that's going to be a lot better for you. And if you've never kept a dream journal, this is a really good time to start that, because usually for me, I have the most vivid dreams during a full moon cycle. Things that I normally wouldn't pick up on all of a sudden come through crystal clear. So if you want to work on intuitive development, this is a really great time to do just that. Why is it called a strawberry moon? Because it's a time to harvest. And depending on where you live, I think this is maybe more based on Northern Hemisphere and maybe even North America. But this was a time when typically indigenous or native cultures were harvesting strawberries and fruits and things like that. So it was called the strawberry moon, but it might as well just be called a harvest one. So for you, it's also a time to take action. And I wrote it really small here, but like no more procrastination. So if there's anything that you're trying to do in your life and you've been waiting for tomorrow, for the next phase, it's going to get better, yada, yada, yada. At some point, it's sort of like, no, it has to happen right here, right now. So with the full moon kind of starting to wane, I would say anytime after like Sunday, Monday, as it starts to get a little bit weaker, you can start to work on some of that. When it's in its full moon phase, it's really time to just sort of let go of the anxiety and just start to plan. And then as you go more towards a new moon, it's easier to plant new things and new ideas and get things started. But for now, stay positive, stay hopeful, and get something started, even if it's just an email, a telephone call, or putting something to paper. I think that'll be really key for you. All right, let's move on to the pelican, which I just showed you a moment ago. As I was researching them, they're like these dive bombers, basically. Apparently, at least the brown pelican anyway, it feeds by diving into the water, and it kind of stuns the fish a little bit with its speed and its weight, and then it gulps it up with that expandable throat that we were looking at. And that impact was very interesting. So there's this moment in time where you can make a splash and you can make someone sort of pay attention. The other thing here is that let's focus on that first. So make a splash in this moment and pick the moment carefully, is what I would say, because sometimes there are better times to do things than others. And I would say focus on the timing. That really, really matters. And it also shows you, like, when you sort of completely submit to what your passion is, when you kind of just go for it, it's also really, really powerful. So in this moment in time, you don't want to hesitate either. So if there's something you've been waiting for, do that here and now. I'm just rearranging these cards a little bit so that they make better sense. All right, the next thing I would say is focusing on the throat chakra. Since it has an expandable throat, it's basically saying trust your voice. You may even want to stretch yourself and do more public speaking than you normally would. Your voice carries more of an impact than you may imagine that it does. And if you stretch your comfort zone a little bit, you may be surprised at what you can do. Don't swallow your words in fear, in frustration, in self-doubt. Don't let other people silence you either. This is basically a time to open up the throat. It might be something that we'll do later if we have time to meditate. I always like to close with a meditation, so we'll try to do a meditation and a final card at the end. So yeah, basically trust in that, and we'll see as we do the readings here where there might be opportunities to speak up a little bit, right? All right, so the next thing that I want to look at for you is, or talk about here is, it's a small dietary note. Pelicans, they don't exclusively eat fish, but primarily, I think it was something like over 90% of their diet. The types of fish that they eat are typically smaller. If you happen to eat fish in your diet, that's also better for you too. There's a lower mercury content in the smaller fish, like sardines and anchovies were the two that they actually eat a lot of. So if you're going to eat fish, try to do smaller ones that live shorter lives and have less mercury. Again, I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a doctor, but I remember that in my own research. So it's interesting that they kind of have a healthier aquatic diet. They're not eating the big fish, basically. It's also, when you're thinking of the small fish, sometimes it's all the little things that come together that can really make a difference. When I think of like a school of fish, even, it's kind of like a grassroots sort of energy. So if you can get enough people moving in your direction at the same time, a lot of small voices can make a lot of noise. And again, speaking of amplification, if you can get everyone on the same page at the same time, it can be pretty powerful. So I'm kind of going from pelican to a conductor here of fish, but you get what I'm saying. There's a moment here maybe where you don't have to do it all by yourself. So even if you're trying to stretch your voice so much that it's not working, get more people behind you. That's another message that came through. Okay, let's move on to the next message. This came through dreams, and what I saw in dreams last night was a graduation ceremony, but you were skipping the party. And I got the feeling that you might be missing out on something. And this, of course, is symbolic. You don't need to be graduating. Really, what this is telling me is that you want to remember to celebrate all of the small accomplishments in your life, big or small. Really enjoy this moment in time. You're only going to have it once. We're only going to be here today once. Let's make the most of this particular moment in time. So sometimes we compare ourselves to friends and family that may be doing these lofty things, and it can sometimes feel like, well, why should I celebrate what I just did? That's their path. This is your path, and you have no idea what the rest of their path will look like. You don't know what this moment in time is going to open up for you. Sometimes what seems like a misstep can actually be the key that opens another door. If I think back to, I once spent some time at a job that I didn't quite like. It was maybe 6 to 8 months there, and I thought, what a sort of waste of time. Fast forward to maybe like 4 years later, I got hired at a particular job because I was at that company which specialized in something. And they were like, there are very few people that have this skill set. We're so happy you did that, even if it was for a short time. So suddenly, what I thought was a mistake was actually a piece of the puzzle. It was a key. So you never know what this moment is opening up in the future. Even if you hate it or you're regretting why you did it, it will bring you something. You chose it for a reason. It was a lesson that you called in. So just put that key on your keychain, and later you're going to figure out when to use it and why you picked up that key. A symbolic graduation may also be underway, or a release of some sort. So get ready for a door to open. That's why you need the key. That's why we just talked about that key. For those of you that listened to my Pisces reading yesterday, there were two symbols that I think whenever I have readings that are very close, there's still a little bit of overlap. So I had two sort of shape-shifting energies, or I should say they shed their skins. So I talked about a tarantula as one of them. And basically what it does is it molts from one energy into another one. And the other thing that I did was a dragonfly, and it moves from a life in the water to a life in the air. And so because it's so close, it actually happened, that reading, on a full moon. We're going to pull a little bit of that energy here, which is, I feel like all of us are getting ready as we enter into July to shed our skin, to try something different. And the second dream that I was seeing before I woke up this morning was, it was almost like a game, like you were in a video game and there was this puzzle that you had to solve. So in a game, we have the opportunity to just magically go back to the start and retrace our steps. In life, it's not like that. We go through something and we can't necessarily go back and restart it. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do that this day? I'm going to redo it because I don't want to make this mistake, etc. So what we just keep doing is learning from them, and we try to do better the next time, the next day. What I'm seeing here, I think, is part of a cyclical process and a karmic cycle from lifetime to lifetime. You were starting to put the pieces together. You were very close to solving the puzzle. And my wish for you is basically to start recording some of this down, because for anybody that's played a strategic game before, you have to take notes, you have to map it out sometimes. And without the map, you're just kind of winging it. And if you wing it, it's going to take more lifetimes. Let's get it solved this lifetime so that you can move on to better things in this lifetime, and next time is even better. So why keep going through the reset? Let's go ahead and move through it and level up, basically. It's time to do a +1 level, go to the next level. Don't give up. You're on the verge of releasing an old karmic pattern, basically, is what this is talking about, okay? Now for the last couple cards, and then we're going to get into the first of 3 Celtic crosses today. Change is often very subtle in your life. So talking about those 2 totems yesterday, the tarantula and the dragonfly, they don't sometimes know that you don't know what's underneath until you kind of like let go. Even when I've looked at a butterfly or a moth right before they enter chrysalis or right when they come out, it's amazing to see that as they start to form like a cocoon or a pupa or whatever the state is that they're going to go into, all of a sudden there was something else underneath and the skin comes off and then they create something else. So the change was there, but you and I couldn't see it until they took the skin off, till they shed that old layer of skin. So for you, you could already have evolved internally. People, sometimes you don't recognize it, but others can recognize it because they're looking from the outside. So this was the message here. You're further along on the journey than you realize. People around you may say, something's different. What's changed? You look in the mirror and you think nothing's changed, but your energy's changed. The way you're projecting yourself has changed. Maybe someone else sees opportunity, beauty, something that you don't see. Don't be self-deprecating there. Instead, say, thank you for the perspective. That isn't something that I've seen, but now that you mention it, I understand where you're coming from. Thank you for that perspective. Trust in their vision, trust in your own, and expand. It's just like the throat chakra, expand in what's possible. You are a limitless and eternal being at your soul, basically, in your soul. This body is finite. This body is material. It's a vehicle, but our soul has been around the block more than once. So you have what it takes to make it through this. You've done it before. This time, again, we're going to do +1. We're going to level up, okay? So one more quick review, because I don't usually go back into these cards when I do the 3 Celtic crosses as a part of a bonus reading. We had the moon. The moon is bringing you closer to dreams and desires. The moon is also amplifying emotions, so you want to be careful and thoughtful about what your emotions are bringing forth in this period in time. You also want to be taking a look at what you want to call in. I would say think bigger. You have the capacity to push things out there further than you might imagine. The pelican was coming through as this sort of dive bomber. It dives right into whatever it is that it wants. So if there's something that it really wants to kind of bring forth, it's just like, I'm going to go for that. So this is a moment in time where you should pick your moment, you should pick your timing, and you should really go for it as well. Make a splash. They also have that expandable throat chakra or throat. So this is about us working on using our voice, expanding our reach a little bit. Stretching yourself, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. The graduation thing that I saw was about celebrating the little moments, not comparing yourself to someone else. Every moment is important as you're starting to learn. And also there's this subtle release that's happening, this subtle change or metamorphosis. So even without a totem today that represented that, I still see it. I still feel it. So I know that it's happening for all of us. Okay. I'm going to stack up these cards. And if you missed anything, don't worry. Later today, I'll be working on recapping yesterday's reading and today's reading, and I'll post it to social media by tomorrow. So like I said earlier, if you haven't followed me yet on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, of course, if you haven't liked or subscribed here on YouTube, you should please do that now. I use the community tab to communicate with you guys. So please follow me if you haven't. And I just went live yesterday on Instagram. It's another place where sometimes I'll do an impromptu thing. It's a little bit more casual when I do it. I was talking about some of my favorite not websites, but my favorite tarot decks, some of which you're going to see today. So one quick moment here before I get into your first reading, which is going to be on adjusting to changes. If you're new, I'd like to welcome you. Hit the thumbs up, whether you're new or old, if you haven't already. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button. It helps a lot. You'll be able to find me in the future. And yeah, it basically just assists with channel growth. All right, I'm going to begin with a newer deck. I'll be using this again tomorrow because I like it. This is the Afro Goddess Tarot Arcanas deck. It's an indie deck. You can get it from the creator's website. I have links on my website, so you can just go to FAQs, and it's right under their tarot decks that I use. So let's focus now on adjusting to changes in your life. It was by far the most popular item in both polls. Yeah, topping the chart. So I decided to begin with this. Changes could be so many different things. This could be a new job. It could be a new relationship. It could be moving. It could be just adjusting to the different world in which we find ourselves right now. So we'll take a look at the cards and see how they're going to help us with these sorts of changes in our lives. Okay, so let me just focus on pulling cards at this moment, and then I will come back in just a second and talk about everything that's in front of us. If you missed anything, you can always catch it on replay. You can use this for sun, rising, moon. This today is for everyone though, so don't worry about it when you join an all signs reading like this. So all of my other readings, you can kind of specifically look at sun, rising, moon. Today, you're in the right place, so that's muscle memory for me, but you don't need to worry about it today. This is for everyone. So I know my poor moderator is gonna have to answer, what sign are we on? Every sign is the answer. We're all under the same energy, so 3 times a month I like to meet with you so that we can come together and read the collective energy, and that's really what this is. So interesting, the 6 of Swords has been coming up a lot, so is the 9 of Pentacles. They've come up in these positions before too, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and expand it. Yeah, this is a lovely deck. Really gorgeous pictures on it. Every painting basically looks like that. She hand painted these, not each card obviously, but each of these is a painting. So it's really lovely. All right, just take a quick drink of water, and then we're going to look at changes, adjusting to changes, making the most of them, making positive changes. Okay, we'll begin with the Catalyst card, which is basically a way for you to stay on track. And in this case, we have cultivation, which is the act of creation. And we have this sort of beautiful, I believe he's playing a sitar there. This is Lord Ganesha, which is a god that removes obstacles in your life. So one of the ways that you can make the most of change is to really be creative with it, creative in your approach, knowing that as we change, as we try new things, the stretching energy that I was talking about before has no choice but to kind of rear its head. You have to try something different. You have to push yourself. What are you starting to do that's new in your life? For some of us, there could be a resistance to change. So the message here with cultivation is simply to take that step and to do something that shifts the energy a bit. So if you've ever moved into a new house, have you noticed how your life afterwards starts to take on a series of changes because your environment has shifted? And it's not just because maybe you've changed your job, but it's everything around you, everything that you're touching and seeing and feeling and drinking has changed. The way that you're commuting to work or to the grocery store has changed. So change can invigorate, and cultivating that change is going to be really important. So create some subtle changes in your life and see how that basically affects you positively or negatively, and keep moving the needle around until you find what's right for you. Let's go to the center here. So for some of you, we have, I guess the focus here would be, how do I start to connect with people again? This makes a lot of sense after a year of being in a pandemic. Many parts of the country and the world actually are still under restrictions. I've talked to some clients in Australia, for instance, and it still sounds like there's some restrictions there. And we know even in India and other places, it's still not where it needs to be. But as we start to ease into getting to know each other again, notice how this Two of Cups is a very gentle one. It's basically just a subtle touch. It's good to touch someone, just like as a hug or a handshake, something we haven't been able to do for at least a year and a half. Recently just had lunch with a friend, and it was nice to be able to be, outside and, just shake hands and be together. So that kind of intimacy, we're going to be talking about intimacy and communication as the third part of this. That can be so important, a subtle and welcome touch like that, a handshake or a hug. And for some of us, maybe you don't want to be touched, and you've decided, like, I like my privacy and everything. So communicating the boundaries is going to be important as well. We're all a little awkward as we're getting back into this process of connecting and being together. And what I like about this, which is interesting, is look how large the cups are. So the emotions for both people are a little bit, it's almost like they're overwhelmed with the emotion. So I would say take a step back, pace yourself, and it's kind of like this nice gentle dance that's going on between the two of them. Time will heal everything. You're going to be able to find your way back, and sooner or later, you're going to be holding the cups. The cups won't be sort of like holding you here. And I think that's the key thing there. Let's look at what's tempering this, because this really will help us with how to connect. So we have the King of Pentacles here. And this really does kind of sum up a lot of us over the past year. We were just king or queen of our own home, and many of us worked a lot on ourselves. And it's nice to have that power, to have that independence. And as we start to re-enter the workforce, as we start to re-enter the social sphere around us, it is like, but I don't want to lose what I found. So you don't have to lose what you found. You can still have this independence that we see here also in the Eight of Pentacles, or the Nine of Pentacles rather. So this is quintessentially a very independent card. Nine of Pentacles is all about sustainability, this long journey that brought you to this moment in time. And many of you have already overcome that, and you're like, no, I actually know exactly what I want to work on. The King of Pentacles sometimes overdoes things. So over the past year, some of us maybe exercised too much, maybe we ate too much, maybe we slept too much, maybe we worked too much. And so one of the things that's kind of nice about bringing people back into your life is it's going to bring more moderation, more balance. So yes, it's nice to be king of the mountain, but it's also nice to have people there to shake up the energy and get us out of that sort of cycle of work, 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 or going into excess. Keep working on yourself, however, during this process. Like I said, there's a change that's happening. There's a level up that's going to begin. And I think that you're going to be able to push through it. And for anybody that has sort of whatever you might have been overdoing during the pandemic, you know what? We got through a really rough year, right? Year and a half, actually. So the fact that you're here, you're still standing, like that song in the 80s, that's something to celebrate. And you'll find your way back to whatever's good for you. This is a king of resources, basically. So you have the resources around you. Some of those resources are people that can kind of support you. So lean on that resource, and you'll find your way back to whatever feels good to you. Okay, so I really like that. Then we have the Three of Cups. Interestingly enough, it feels like a lot of this has to do with people. The changes are all about the people here, because I'm looking at the Three of Cups in the Deep Past. So for many of you, you put on hold celebrations, weddings, funerals, unfortunately, graduation, other important life events were kind of put on hold because of what we had to go through. And so this is a chance to make sure that we haven't lost kind of like touch with who we are, and that those, maybe now there's a chance to celebrate them. And even if they're in a more subtle way, you still want to, it doesn't diminish it, right? So if you, because I saw graduation, even though most of them are done now as I look at the calendar date, if I think back to, so an interesting side story on me is I finished both my undergraduate and graduate degrees 6 months early. So my graduating class graduated, I graduated without them. It didn't make it less impactful for me. I was really happy to be finished both times around because I had other things in my life that I wanted to do. I decided to spend 6 months and do an internship overseas when I did my undergraduate one. So I think I might have come back and walked with, both times I think I walked with my actual class. Yeah, well, the second time I did because I didn't an undergraduate. But it didn't matter either way because I felt so happy that I just finished and I couldn't wait for the next chapter. So know this, that sometimes a ceremony is just a ceremony, but I felt the change within. So I may not have walked the stage with all of the people that I've been to classes with all those times, but it didn't take away my graduation. So for those of you that had to get a diploma or went through some sort of a life change, it doesn't matter if it, like I said, if it's getting it on paper or something else in your life, it still happened. You still changed. You're still you, and it was still an accomplishment. It's still something that you got through. So celebrate it. I never look back and think, oh my gosh, my life is incomplete because I graduated 6 months early and didn't get to be with my friends. I had other choices and other windows that opened up. You have no idea what the future may be opening up for you. So it's not necessarily lost time. There's going to be time to catch up and have a lot of fun in the future, and that's what you want to look at. Also, this is about rekindling the flame, dating, and then also looking at existing relationships. One thing that we've definitely seen in the pandemic is this was a pressure test for any of the key friendships or loves that you might have had in your life, because sometimes it got stronger, sometimes it kind of broke apart. Now, if you're in a relationship, even though we'll be looking at this later, it's still coming through and change. So I'm going to go with what the change energy is showing me. This can be a chance for those of you that are in love to rekindle the flame, because the Three of Cups sometimes comes when we want to have that feeling of the butterflies. Like, I want to feel that rush again. So you have to find a way to connect with the person. It can also be a question mark. Is this the one? Do we have what it takes to stand the test of time, etc.? And that's a question that only you can answer. But one of the ways is to explore the connection again. If you're looking for love, this is showing me that slowly, step by step, you're going to be ready to start to get out there again. Okay, especially it portends good things that we saw, the Two of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Three of Cups. That shows a lot of people that want to come into your life, a lot of people that are interested in whatever you have to offer. Okay, so it's been tough, and some of you right now, as we're looking at the recent past with the Three of Swords, it's just this feeling of, when will things get better? Why is it so difficult? Why does it seem that there's like one challenge after another challenge after another? And you know what? That's a completely valid question that, you know, have you ever noticed a little kid that just asks their parent, why, but why, but why? At a certain point, the parent's like, I don't know. So sometimes even the universe there is always a purpose, but if you just keep asking the why, you're like the little kid that's asking, when will we get there? Are we there yet? It doesn't make it better. It just sort of like, it's kind of like you're drilling in on something that you know. So what I would say is acknowledge that this is uncomfortable, that something didn't happen the way that you wanted it to happen, that maybe it wasn't fair. But guess what? The crowning card is one of movement. It's a beautiful Six of Swords. And look at the horizon. She's going towards a beautiful vista, a rising sun. And to me, this is something really exciting. And this is what we should all be keeping our eyes on. We're done with this now, and we're looking towards this. Pain is an important and a sort of like a context that we have in our life. It gives us a chance to see what we don't want. It helps us understand the beauty when things are going well. So focus on the next goal without diminishing or sweeping under the rug the pain. It helps to just know what's next. And this is also a card that shows you that time heals everything. So the Six of Swords is, typically, if you looked at a Rider-Waite-Smith version of it, you would have at least two, sometimes three people, but you would see a ghost in the back. And the ghost can represent what you're mourning, what you've lost. and it takes time, but time does heal everything. And there's always something on the horizon that's beautiful. In the Robin Wood deck, there's a little star that you see on the horizon that the person's going towards. Here we see instead the rising sun. So focus on what's next. It can only, for all of us, I really feel like, move upward from here. And now we see what you've gained. What is this? What is the year that's changed you, brought you? The Nine of Pentacles, which is abundance, independence, a sense of self-reliance, the ability to push through something and know that you can count on you. So you're stronger. A lot of words to say that. You found a way to be stronger. And that is a really big gift that sometimes only struggle can bring us, right? Sometimes we have to go through things before we realize how strong we are. Look at the next card here. All right, so now we have the Five of Wands, and if we kind of pull these two together, Five of Wands oftentimes is a frustrating card because we look at things and we wonder, like, why am I working so hard? Sometimes the money's not worth it. Sometimes the recognition isn't worth it. And you don't want to get lost in the shuffle with the Five of Wands. So one thing that I want you to look at is, how fulfilled are you at this moment in time? Are you getting what you want out of this experience? Or are you feeling like it's just a lot of work? Are you just kind of feeling petered out? The Five of Wands is a card to tell you to, again, look at where you're headed. I like this one because the work that's happening is blocking the progress that's being made and the overarching purpose. So sometimes when we are, at a company where it's really, really, really busy and they just expect us to perform, it's kind of like you're the horses on the chariot and they're just whipping you, and that's not what's necessary. We need to sometimes be supported. We need to support ourselves. And there may be someone in your midst, because that's what came in my mind, that is just trying to kind of like motivate you through, you're not working hard enough, do this, pushing. This is too pushy. So I think the important thing, I always like a Five of Wands where they're working together. And it feels like everyone here is starting to realize that together we can do more. So do more together, focus on the long-term goals like we've been talking about here. And if there's anyone in your midst that is borderline, it's not just bossy, but kind of abusive in forcing you to do something, it's time to step away from that. Okay. We have the Hierophant in reverse in the environment, which would tell you that the way to get things done is basically by taking an unconventional approach. There may be someone around you, however, who is very much, like I just said, impatient with change and impatient with people that don't want to kind of follow the status quo. This is someone who really likes to get their way. So it's more of kind of like a high priestess energy as we look at this Hierophant, but same sort of thing, which is I'm used to doing this. This is the way I want to do it. I'm not the high priestess as like the in tarot, but kind of like the one that's in charge. This is a boss. So for some of you, it may be a divine feminine energy. It could be divine masculine. But what I'm seeing here is they want you to think that they're the only ones that can do this. They've got the keys. The truth is, and I told Pisces this the other day, you have the key, and you want to be very careful about who you're giving that key to, who you're handing things over to. And so if someone won't allow you to make the changes that you need to make in your life, it's time to move on. The other thing with this is to make changes overall for you, to be more at peace with the changes in your life. You may have to disappoint someone around you, mom, dad, boss, coworker, friend, because they think you should fit in a box. And just like the chrysalis, you got to push through this shell, this cocoon, this whatever you've kind of formed around yourself. And it's like, that skin is no longer mine. I need to be something else, someone else. And I think right now, the big thing for you is we have the controlling energy of the devil. Is someone trying to hold you back? Is someone trying to push you down? Is someone not giving you a chance to be as free as you want to be? What I like about this particular devil card is it's all in the head, right? We can kind of see the people between our two horns, but in the distance, there's a path to freedom. And the door is open. The door is open. There's a little little rose, or it could actually be, I'm sorry. When I'm looking closer, it's actually a tomb. But I see anything like that as sort of a portal too. This is just symbolic. From a distance, it kind of looks like a door. As I looked at it, it's laying something to rest as well. So for the two of you, if there's someone in your life that's kind of pulling you back a little bit, it's time to mourn that relationship. That's what I look at with the tombstone and the rose, because I feel like they've already shown their true colors. There's nothing here to kind of keep you. And if someone basically makes you feel bad, like you can't go because what would we do without you? What would I do without you? You have to stay. That also is very conditional. Or we won't do, you have no choice. You need this job. You need this relationship. You need my money. That's definitely devil-like energy. So the change that's necessary for some of you is the liberation from that. The liberation may take a little bit more time than you want, but you can do this. You have the independence here. And for some of you, it may just be a matter of tapping on the shoulder of someone else who maybe has offered help before and saying, yeah, I need to go now. This is time. Look, any change is better than this. So unshackling, having that liberation, having that freedom. In relationships, this is interesting because we have 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, 3 of Swords, 6 of Swords, and the Devil. So the other thing with relationships is if you love somebody, set them free. And if you're in it for the wrong reasons, or if somebody has basically done something where they're not working, they're not putting the same energy in there, there's a natural release that wants to happen there as well. We have the Hermit card reversed, but she's one of my favorite cards in any deck because basically she holds the star and we see either like a little firefly or little bee or something by that, or a moth right by that lantern, showing that the transformation, like I said, it's already underway. She already holds the energy of the star. It's just a matter of taking that veil off and shining, right? So I feel like many of you are at that reveal moment. And maybe when you showed your true colors to someone, that's when the devil energy came through, which is like, I don't like this new you. I don't like the change. I want to go back. But we can't go back. Like I said, we're not a game where you can hit reset and replay it. So sometimes as we move along, that first scene has gone away. Now we have to play the next level. Even if we haven't leveled up or the people around us haven't, at a certain point, they'll fall away. So, you're naturally going to attract people on the same level. This is maybe an easier way for some of you to see energetic frequencies or vibrations. So as you level up a few times, you're going to start to bring people in that same frequency, that same level. The lower levels are going to still be working on the lessons that they haven't learned just yet, which is why I'm so keen on you leveling up so you can get to that next opportunity on the horizon for you. All right. Let's expand it and specifically look at changes within health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then we can use these cards to amplify those. So specifically looking at changes in health, we have childhood, innocence, very kind of like 6 of Cups energy with this. And the card is reversed. So for many of you, there's a return to a piece of yourself that you've left behind in the past. So maybe there was something you weren't allowed to do as a kid, weren't allowed to be as a kid. Maybe it was even just a matter of who you were. We're almost through it, but this is, Pride Month. So maybe some of you, the coming out can be anything, from sexuality to also like what I want to do for a living. But specifically for those of you that came out, this is about you understanding that you were always exactly the way you needed to be. And this is your chance to kind of go back and feel like that child that is loved. Honoring and loving the inner child in all of us is going to be important as well. So parents don't always have the capacity to support us on whatever challenges or whatever feelings we have, whether it's something physically that is challenging us emotionally, or whether it's things going on around us like bullying or whatever. Sometimes parents just don't have what it takes to support you. So this month, I want you to work on healing something from the past. It will help all aspects of your health, particularly your mental health. Having some fun and not taking yourself too seriously, being irreverent, being spontaneous, having some ephemeral moments where you're just in the moment is going to be really important as well. Let's look just quickly. I want to tie other messages to health and changes with health. For some of you, the move that you're going to make is going to be really important to that healthier point of view. So don't be afraid to move if you need to. It's going to help everything. The other thing is letting go of any sort of addictions in your life. This is a great time to do that. And you might need to separate yourself from people that triggered you before. So for many of you, you just need to spend a little bit more time by yourself, before you come out of that hermit shell. And that's okay if you're still doing some requisite healing. Know that there's no right way to do something sometimes. You have to kind of come up with what works best for you. So when it comes to health and well-being, the Hierophant in reverse is saying, open your mind, try different things, and you may be surprised at what works for you. I especially want you to focus on emotional health. The Three of Swords can have to do with pain, loss, even depression. And then, of course, just from a physical point of view, the emotions that you're feeling could be situating themselves primarily in the heart space. So you want to open that up a little bit. And then if there is addiction, again, moderation is what's necessary right now, or sobriety. So we're getting a lot of cleaning of energy, moving on, moving forth, and kind of holding space for something better to come through. So that's what I see here. Let's move on to wealth and changes in wealth and dealing with changes in wealth. Guess what? It takes time. This is like the Seven of Pentacles, basically. It even has a 7 on it. So I would say for many of you, growth and change, like I said before, it's subtle. But the cool thing is if you keep at it, before you have a chance to notice, all of a sudden you're there. So keep chipping away at what you're trying to get under control. So because this is in wealth, for some of you, this is paying off debt. For some of you, this could also be about finishing something that you've started, a project. Maybe you've decided to go back to school, or you're having a hard time finishing, a program because of all the changes in the education system as we've gone through the pandemic. Take your time. You could also be waiting for test results because we have awaiting results here. But what we see here is growth. I like that we see a tree without leaves, and then we see the 2 bushes around this. A tree that is dormant isn't dead. Just because you don't see the growth happening doesn't mean that it hasn't happened yet. I recently took a cutting, and I've been waiting, and then all of a sudden I finally saw a sprout coming up, and it took like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and I thought, oh, maybe this parent plant is gone, but it wasn't. It took time to push the energy up. So give yourself time to find a new way, and just like something that's been pruned, just because something didn't work doesn't mean that you won't find a way to grow faster, farther, or again, okay? Specifically with wealth, there's a very interesting message that comes through. If I was going to pick a money card, I like the 2 that we got. We have the King of Pentacles, or God of Pentacles here, and we have the 9 of Pentacles. This one is in the near future, so it factors an important role, which is with the reversal of this, sometimes there's a feeling like I don't need anything. I won't accept your help because that's going to make me weak, or I don't want to have to owe anything to anyone. And this is saying you might be missing an important helper or opportunity there that could really lend the support. If it's a grandparent or a parent or someone in your life that just legitimately wants to make your life a little easier, and it can do that, this is about reevaluating that, or it's about asking for help. Not necessarily being so closed off. That's one of the things that could help you go faster and further and faster than you might think. All right, so most of the money messages are pretty good. The only thing that I would say here is there might be something limiting you from your potential, because this is in hopes and fears. So with the Devil reverse, it's about unshackling. It's about letting go. So let go of anything that you're holding on to because of fear, because of shame, because of doubt, because of uncertainty, because you hold exactly what you need to overcome that. You are lighter and brighter than that. You can overcome it. So there is some sort of a shackling that wants to be released this month: freedom, liberation, and a new door, new opportunity. Looking at changes within love and relationships, we have friendship and gratitude, and a beautiful tulip here. And it said, let us be grateful for the people who make us happy. They are charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. So the importance of friendship above all else, it isn't necessarily just love. Friends are with us in the thick and the thin of it, right? And we see that for some of you, there may be fewer, but they may be better than they were, because this is the Center card and this is the deep past. So maybe you've noticed a thinning of your friend groups, but the one or the ones that are left, that's really what matters. That's what I'm seeing here. So it's not about how many, it's about how deep the water flows between you. And for some of you, you've done the work on yourself, I have to say. So you're going to call in a rich soul too. It sometimes just takes time. With the Devil card here again in reverse, sometimes there's a desire to want to control things that you can't control with other people. Like you can't make someone feel emotions that they don't feel. And this card is primarily about friendship. So if you were able to connect with someone and it wasn't romantic, but you have a lot of other things in common and you can create or maintain a friendship from there, that's one of the biggest gifts that you can get. So feels like that could be one of the changes here, is trying to be friends or trying to just be friends or reclaim a friendship, all of the above. And there is a sort of gentle coming out again of your shell, revealing yourself. It feels like if you have to move on, move out for whatever's going on in your career or just in your general health, the friendships that matter will follow you, even if it's a remote sort of friendship as well. All right, and let's finally look at your destiny card, which is what is all of this change bringing you toward? We have the stag spirit here, which is saying to be the leader, to be more independent, which is what we have here with the King of Pentacles card here. So definitely you have what it takes. We also have it with the Nine of Pentacles. She's in control of her financial destiny. She's able to create new things. And so, yeah, a lot of this change has helped you find your voice, helped you take the lead, helped you not second guess yourself. I'm just going to quickly look at this. We're not going to do a full on review because I need to get into the next two items and we're already at the halfway point here. So the main thing that I'm looking at, ironically and interestingly, is a lot of relationship sort of energy in the past and the present. We see Three of Cups, Two of Cups, and the Devil card. The Devil card is, even in this deck, you can kind of see, it's just a different interpretation of the Lovers. So for you right now, I feel like many of your key relationships in your life are going to show up as either the ones that you can count on or the ones that basically, if they wanted something or if there was a hidden sort of agenda, it comes out. The good news right now is you're supposed to be focusing on cultivating and growing. So the relationships that matter will go deeper. The ones that don't, you're going to open up space so that you can succeed in business, so that you can succeed in developing parts of your own life. And that's going to call in something higher in the outcome. It feels like you're also supposed to change the status quo. You're not just part of the team, you are a leader, which we see here as well. And overcoming adversity is also a big thing right now. You're being led towards a better path. Maybe the job that you were so comfortable in prior to the pandemic, you can't imagine going back to it, especially after you took some time. Maybe the relationship that you've been in, it's the same thing, like, I don't think I can do this. Or you're finally ready to get out and meet some people and bring a relationship into your life. There's a necessary change that's happened because of the time spent over this past year, okay? And as we look here one more time at the expanded, with health, reclaiming innocence, finding a youthful sort of energy, being patient with anything that you're trying to create or grow in your finances, taking friendship as like maybe the biggest gift that you could receive, not counting yourself as less than if you don't have love, quote unquote, in your life. Friends count as love. My little furry friend behind me, that counts as love. That's an unconditional love. It comes in many forms. The important thing for you right now is to take the lead and to make some things happen, especially here on the foot of this supermoon that we just got through. So I'm gonna reset the cards now, and we're gonna move along to the second item, which is career and money opportunities, particularly where we can grow in those this month. And let's see what's coming forth. So for the next two, for the sake of time, and also because feels like, well, at least for the next one, I'm going to do a past, present, future instead of all of the expanded forecasts. And then probably when I do intimacy and communication, I'll do the expanded forecast on that one as well. So let's take a look at career growth and money opportunities in your life and see what messages are coming through. I'm going to use the Light Seers deck for this. Career, money. For those of you that are retired, it could be money and life purpose, not just career. For those of you in school, this would also just be about like, where is this path taking you? Life purpose is the sort of overarching thing. The Devil keeps coming up, so we definitely have some fears and some limitations that are, it's good that we're meeting today so that we can overcome them. Okay, you're gonna actually have two cards there. All right, and we're going to do past, present, future influences. I'm going to move to a different deck here. Maybe I'll use Kim's deck here for this. Past, present, future. Okay, and I know that you're going to ask my moderator. This is the Wild Unknown Archetypes. It's a circular deck. Same artist that does the Wild Unknown. Okay. So let's talk about what's in front of us right now. Oh, I want to do a catalyst for this one too. So I'm just going to pull it in tarot. So one more for catalyst, because I always like to see that. You got 2 catalysts. All right, so we see some common cards coming through this month. So as we're looking at career and just life purpose here, are you happy? Have you been held back in the past because of what was necessary? I think that right now we've really learned what makes us tick and what doesn't make us tick. And if you're no longer satisfied, you can't hide it anymore. The Queen of Cups reversed is an appropriate card to kind of be paired up with the 3 of Swords, because in one way, shape, or form, it has to come out. And even for someone who's highly creative, trying to do as much yoga as they can, if you are in a situation where you cannot be yourself, where you cannot grow, where you just hate it, or you're not happy, or you're not emotionally connected to it, you're more like this person here screaming like, let me out, right? Time to cut those cords. And if anyone in your life won't let you be yourself, you may also be kind of like saying, leave me alone. So if you're doing what you want and people can't understand you, cut the cords. If you're unhappy and trying to make yourself happy, even the Queen of Cups can't do that if you're in an oppressive sort of situation or you're not digging what you're doing. So let's talk a little bit about the messages that are coming through here for you in this respect. All right, so we'll do past, present, future in a second. I kind of want to focus on the cards first, and then we'll contextualize it. So the center card is Empress in reverse. This is really the voice, the power, the ability you have to create, right? And we see that divine maternal energy with her. She like has the whole world right there inside. We all have the ability to birth and to create. But if there's someone in your life that holds back your power, your voice, makes you feel less than, it can be sometimes a parent inadvertently. It can definitely be a boss. It can definitely be a sibling. Sometimes people see your potential and they want to mute the light, or they want you to conform to their expectations. And basically what we see here with the 9 of Cups is you can't really do that. It feels like you have to be you, right? So if there's somebody here that won't let you be you, it goes here, which is like sadness, depression, and anger versus celebration, jubilation, expansion, happiness. So this is really a time to explore what matters, express yourself, explore what matters, and to take power back. As a leader, what you want to do is let people come to you, and you want to focus on doing work internally. Even as a worker, you want to do the same thing. And if someone in your life, kind of piggybacking off of the channeled messages, they're having you swallow your words. Your pelican throat wants to kind of open up and say, no, I've got a lot to share. You can't do that. So instead of the world being in your belly, the world is also right here. And it's like, no, I've got a lot that I need to get out. So it's time to express yourself, right? The King of Wands in reverse in the deep past. This is also about, I like that we see her kind of dancing to the beat of her own drum. We even see the horse in the background there. And it's sort of like, no, I can create my own sort of rhythm, my own sort of pattern. And not everyone's going to understand that. One thing that I like with Knight of Wands reverse is they know who they are. And they are not afraid to kind of maybe go a little bit counter to the flow. And sometimes that's necessary to make change happen. There could be a little bit of an encouragement with this card, however, to listen to what's going on around you. You can be so in your head and so in the moment that you may miss a bigger truth or a bigger situation going on. So do keep an open mind when we're looking at career and growth opportunities, because if you slow down for a minute, You might see that someone over there is trying to get your attention, that there might be something over here that's worthy of your time and energy, etc. So by and large, I like this. It's a kind of like a middle management card, like the queen and the king are the bosses. The knight would be the one that makes things happen and is also able to kind of like take the lead occasionally. So for you right now, I feel like there's a step up opportunity there. Are you willing to kind of go to the next level and let go of some of the stuff that might just be busy work as well? Let's see. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. I think this has to do with the Three of Swords in your life. So for some of you, there's this desire to try to maybe please or make things better. And I like the idea of wanting to improve and wanting to be nice to others, but we can't fill up other people's cups. We can't make people around us happy. We can give them perspective, we can give them support, but at the end of the day, for some of you, if you're in a toxic work environment, if you are on a life path or this is even a volunteer project where people around you just aren't feeling it, you can't overcome the morale. What you have to do is find your happiness and do the best that you can to help other people see what's available. But you can't make the heart or the mind think or feel a certain way. You can just present it with options. We have the Six of Pentacles here in the crowning position. So good news for those of you that are trying to figure out what to do with money. If I was going to pick a single card that was my minimum, I would want it to be the Six of Pentacles. And I've been talking a lot about this, I feel like, over the past 3 readings, because I think we saw Two of Pentacles yesterday, and we saw like another card that was halfway there, and I'm like, let's make it the Six. So the Six of Pentacles, I would say for you, is a chance to really decide what you care about here and now, and then you can delay some things. You can also delegate a few things. You can ask for assistance, but you have more than enough, but not a ridiculous amount. So you have to be discerning. Discernment is so important in this moment in time. Prioritization, kind of like triage. This before this, and this doesn't have to happen if I don't need it to. I do feel like in the long run, you're going to be able to get all that you want done, but just not in the timing that you want. So you have to make choices. And there's a decision that's part of the Six of Pentacles. I like this card, but you're missing the piece where you see a bunch of people with open hands, and this person kind of deciding this, not this, this, not this, and they're holding scales and a coin purse and just deciding who to give what to. So be thoughtful in how you delegate what you give of your own time and energy and how that's returned. And that's super important with the next card. We have El Diablo, the devil came back. The card is reversed, but let's look really close. This is probably one of the cooler devil cards because we're not demonizing it. We're showing a person like, the interesting thing that I've found in my own life is that the devil energy often comes through with a person that might look really nice, or we might see something on paper that looks really good, but it's not, because we start to see that this can indicate a bad contract, because again, this is the one entity with whom you don't want to contract. And typically they're always going to win. So if somebody has created or factored in some sort of a contract where they are getting everything, just walk away from it. Say, no, thank you. I'd rather not have anything than to be sort of part of this ad nauseum. The other thing is this can just be a temptation, and it can sometimes feel very appealing, but you've been down that path before and you felt the pull of this when it kind of takes hold. So whether that's addiction, whether that's an old job or relationship that could be abusive, could just be a dead end, you're not going to do it anymore because you know exactly where that path leads you. And you're tired of it, right? And so this is just about saying, I'm over that. I'm on to the next thing. And also, if you are going to create any kind of contracts for yourself or others, it's going to be something that gives you freedom to expand, to explore, to be liberated. For some of you, you might want to fight against something that is unjust. So just like justice reverse, this is something you want to right or wrong, okay? Don't sign the first deal that comes your way. Don't go for the first house that you see. Don't go for the first thing. Be discerning, get a second set of eyes on everything, and you should be okay. So sometimes it's okay if you have to wait a little bit. The universe is helping you find the best possible match. Five of Swords is reminding you, I kind of like this one because it's the crow giving him a headache. And we all have someone in our life that is sort of just Very difficult to talk to. You can't win an argument with them, or it feels like all that's coming out is that squawking from the crow, like negativity. In the background, we see someone here who's feels like they've had enough. I don't know if they're just kind of free falling or they couldn't take it anymore. But we also kind of see them connected to the crow energy here. So I think there could be someone in your life that just, you have to take it with a grain of salt or a bag of salt. If there's constantly a cloud over their head, if there's constantly this belief that things are not going to get better, this is something that you just need to get away from. And if you feel like you've made some positive changes in your life, and you have, by the way, because I see you going from the 6 to the 10 of Pentacles, trust on that. And then know that there are some people that have a hard time and they want to pull you down, right? So this is in your ego place. You're going to tune it out. And for those of you that have to talk to someone like that, box in the amount of time that you're going to give to that person, if at all. But let's say it is a coworker or a family member and you just can't cut them out, then have another appointment that you have to get to. And so give them 10 minutes or something like that. And that'll be, especially if you're at work, just have your calendar full and say, hey, I have 15 minutes here. I can talk to you between this meeting and this, or I'm going to go grab a coffee. By the time I come back, I need to do this. For busy people, that's a normal thing all the time anyway. We try to multitask, right? So put that person in a lower sort of, like, not lower frequency, but lower priority, so that you're not using up key energy and you can be walking, talking, paying attention to other things, and then get that through. Because sometimes they just need you to hold space. They're not listening to you. They're talking at you, talking to you, but they're not listening to you. So I feel like there's something going on in your environment where I would try to cut that energy out, or let them know, hey, you've done a lot of talking. It's time to listen. I have something to say. It's bold, but see what happens there. In the environment, we show some good things here because we have the 2 of Wands. These are plans well made. These are plans that are going to come into fruition. So keep making the plans. Have your eye on what it is that you're trying to do. Because if otherwise, I like to remind you that you're just a pinball, right? Sometimes if you're hoping for the best, or it's like Vegas. So we need to know what we're trying to do. There is also a wanderlust to this, a desire to want to get out there. So keep deciding where it is that you want to be. She's got the globe. She spun it around and she knows. And she's just waiting for that right moment. So this is a good time for you to plan. This leads into the 3 of Wands. So I feel like in the next month or 2, you're going to start to see some progress on your goals. Here's what could be coming in between that happening and not. There were 2 cards that stuck together when I was looking at opportunities. Opportunities can also encompass hope and fears. So the trigger for some of you is the 5 of Cups, which is this feeling of, wasted time, lost opportunities. I talked about this at the beginning. There's no such thing as a lost opportunity. So you have the King of Pentacles. Hello, King of Pentacles. And didn't we get the God of Pentacles before, I believe, if I'm looking here? So we're getting the King of Pentacles coming up a lot. I want to just look back to make sure that I'm being accurate here, but I'm pretty sure that he's what was there before. So this is the second time we've gotten that major card coming through. And I would say, yeah, we did. So second time we've gotten the King of Pentacles. So you definitely have this resourceful sort of energy around you that's coming in, that people see you bringing forth. So I want you to lean into that. I want you to trust that. Because guess what your outcome is? Success. So if you're looking for a new job, I see something really great on the horizon. If you're looking to grow or overcome a hurdle, maybe there is something like sexism, ageism, racism, some sort of ism going on. You may be able to work with HR and change policy. At the very least, you might identify what the block is and think, I'm done with that. I'm going to find a place that doesn't have any of these isms, and I'm going to move on to something where I can truly grow. So I see you going from, it's not bad, to being like, yeah, this is exactly the space where you should be at. So don't be afraid to release something. The devil reverse was saying, let's let go of it. Let's allow something better to come in. Okay. So let's go ahead now, look at past, present, future. Slightly different, but it just allows me to move quicker through the center one so that I still have time to look at improving intimacy and communication, which I probably will do an expanded thing, but we'll see. All right, for this, we're looking at past influences in career and money growth, or we'll just call it career and money. We have the prayer, which is, to me, staying hopeful. It's not losing that sort of faith in yourself. And so sometimes, particularly when we have the devil energy kind of popping in there, there can be, or even the Empress reverse, which is a very grabby sort of energy. This is mine, or you can't have that, or I'm not going to let you grow. Then we start to lose the faith. So keep the faith is what this card is saying here from the deep past. And know that you can reclaim it again. It's never too late to kind of like come back. There's a sort of reemergence energy here, that kind of like the Judgment card. This hand is coming through the ground. So you have to reach through or push through, but you can get that which you seek. Don't let it go. Don't let the dream go. Okay. Now we have a sideways card here. It's kind of interesting because there really are no reversals here, but this one was on its side. So I'm going to read this as something that is coming from an unexpected direction. The medallion to me is kind of like, it's like an ace for sure, but it's also something, sometimes we want that approval, right? A medallion can also be like if you get a Medal of Honor, Medal of Courage or whatever. So one of the things that this is reminding you is you already have that energy which you seek, kind of like Wizard of Oz, where the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the Lion, or whatever, they all got those silly plaques that they wore, but they already had the bravery, the brains, and all of the stuff that they were seeking. So don't look for an external validation of it. Instead, go within and figure out, I have that. What am I going to do with that? Let me take the ace, like this Empress who has the world here in her stomach. And she's like, I have what I need. When am I going to deliver this? When am I going to birth it? What form is it going to take? So don't reach for validation. Feel the validation. Take what you have and mold it. Do something. Decide who, when, and how you're going to express the ace that you already have within you. Okay. And now we're going to look at your future, even though we already saw a little kind of peek at the future. Yeah. And here's the interesting thing. This is near future. This is the outcome. This is the final future. So this is a little hiccup that's holding you back here and now. This spread can take like 1 to 3 months to kind of fully see itself through, which is why all of my readings can be like 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks. But what we're looking at with this is someone wants to hold you back, but you're going to get there anyway. And what did I see in my meditation and dreams? Graduation. And so what do we have here? The mask that's coming off. So some people have either tried to wear a mask, and this is the revelation of the mask wearer. So the mask is this, but the reality is something else. And you may have to finally sort of realize this is not me. I am like the spider that I talked about yesterday. I am like the dragonfly. I have to kind of come forth in a different form now. I have to try something else. So it's time to remove the mask and just be you. And just like we saw with the Hermit card, that's also part of the message with the Hermit, is that she always has that which she seeks as well, but it takes a while to decide, like, I'm ready to show that. I'm ready to come out. I'm ready to be me, okay? So as we're looking at the change in your life, because that was the first read, now we're looking at changes and growth in your career. Part of that is, guess what? This is always what I wanted to do, or I don't want to do this anymore because it wasn't me. Okay, so these 3 cards are really, really important and kind of help us with everything that we saw. So keep the faith, keep the hope, reclaim it. And if somebody took that away from you, shame on them. You don't need validation because you already have what you're looking for. Just do something with it without needing someone from, like a Wizard of Oz to kind of put these imaginary plaques on you. You already have that which you seek. And people are going to see you for yourself, for who you truly are. So this is a good thing. This is your chance to be happy. This is your chance to really reveal yourself. So I hope you can do that. I hope you can express that. It is hard to kind of pull the mask off sometimes because there is a vulnerability that will step in when that happens, but it's okay. It's okay because once the awkwardness kind of fades away, then it's just exhilarating. Then it's this sense of freedom, right? So I like what I see here. And my highlights for you are, it's time to be happy, because you can't create happiness where none exists. Again, it feels like there's something that's overdue. It's time to really step forth and deliver on a promise, or to deliver on a dream, or to move forward. The Empress card, she actually has the world. The world is a graduation, is a moving on. It's at the end of the journey of the Fool, and then we start again. So a new beginning. There's someone or something that wants to hold you back, but it's not going to work. And that's really all you kind of need to focus on. Don't listen to that little crow in your ear. Let it go. Let it go. All right. I'm going to reset the cards now. We're going to move on to our third spread, which is going to be focusing on improving intimacy and communication across relationships in your life. And we'll see where this takes us. Let me just take a drink because I've been talking a lot, and we'll focus on that next. Hopefully you guys are enjoying today's bonus read. I usually cover things like money and love or relationships, but not necessarily as my primary spread. So this is kind of special. And this is why I try to do something different with the bonus reads. And also, again, Sunday, I'll be doing a general read for everyone. All right, let me see which deck we should use. I'm probably going to use a new one as well. I've been using this True Heart Tarot, I believe it is. So we'll be using that one next. Yeah, it's True Heart Intuitive Tarot. Okay, so all of these are fairly new cards that I've been using, particularly these two. And for all of you that have given me super stickers, thank you so much. This is where it goes. This one in particular was an investment, but it was worth it because it's beautiful. Okay, focusing on intimacy and communication. So here's the cool thing. Let me talk about it. Someone asked a good question about this on Patreon, but I'm going to answer it here. So when I'm talking about intimacy, intimacy is closeness. It doesn't have to be sex. It doesn't have to be physical contact. There's so many different ways that you can be intimate. And a lot of times that's by showing part of yourself to someone, like an emotional or vulnerable part of yourself, revealing something from the past, revealing a hope or fear, that kind of thing. So it's not just a physicality. And in a long-term relationship, especially just a platonic friendship, it's sort of like, how do we continue to be close or be invested? So that's what I mean with intimacy. Sure, it could mean sex if it shows up as sex, but it's a lot deeper. And I think that if you're only looking at the physical, then you already know that that's part of the problem. There has to be layers beyond that. Communication is pretty self-explanatory. It's just the different ways, vocal, like verbal and nonverbal, that you're talking to each other. How do you show your love? How are you expressing, maybe if you're upset, etc. So let's look at those two things, closeness and communication. All signs are welcome today. If you like what you see here, spread the word. I typically get a few more people on a collective reading, but the bonus ones are a lot of fun too. So let's spread the word and get more people here. All right, improving intimacy and communication for everybody present, all signs. And again, I'm using the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. Wow, like this is the third King of Pentacles. And the second time he's come smack dab in the center. So with roughly, there's 78, but that's like almost like that shouldn't be happening. So this is something we need to pay attention to. So we'll talk about that. So I'm thinking on this one, I'm going to use the same deck that I just used because it was kind of cool. So I am going to do past, present, and future for this as well. So just give me a second. I'm going to pull out the 3 cards that we just used so that we have a repeat. All right, let's take a look at past, present, future for improving intimacy and communication, because that seemed to yield some interesting results. And again, this is the Wild Unknown, but it's the Archetypes deck. I'll add it to my page later. It's not really a deck that one day I'll do the oracles. There's just so many that I can't do all of the production associated with that. Let's go ahead and pull one more for the Catalyst. And again, we have 2 for the Catalyst, which is interesting. Lots of synchronicities today. Okay, so for your Catalyst in improving intimacy and communication, we have 2 cards together. We have the Ace of Cups and we have the 5 of Pentacles. So yay for the Ace of Cups, because the Ace of Cups is actually the magic card that I would look for as to sort of like if you're ready for unconditional love, because you want the cup overflowing. You want it upright as it is. So this portends good things, right? Let's see, we have the Five of Pentacles here, and the Five of Pentacles has to do with the past. So someone just came in and said, how does this work? This is a reading for everyone. We're looking at the third of three chosen categories. We're looking at improving intimacy and communication, and it's going to be for everyone in your life, for you. Everyone that's here, I don't separate the bonus readings by signs. You can go and look at all my old ones if you want to. So back to the reading, Ace of Cups. You have what it takes. You're ready for unconditional love. Yet what we see here is a sort of echo from the past that's coming through at this moment in time. And as we kind of peer into the past, looking at the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles reminds us of the importance of our own self-worth. A lot of times in a traditional illustration, you would see a couple of people that are not looking at each other, even though there is a safe haven behind them, even though one partner may be trying to get the attention of the other person. A lot of times this comes in because of like that Empress energy that we just saw before, which can be someone who made us feel less than, a mom, a boss, a teacher, anyone in an authority or power sort of position who sort of said, you shouldn't, you couldn't, you won't, it's not possible. The truth of the matter is you can, you will, you are, it is possible, because guess what? We got again the Six of Pentacles and again the King of Pentacles. So we have some illusions here from the past through this sort of portal or peephole that the person's looking through at their past. And that person's going to reclaim that extra pentacle and do something like, you know what, I always had that. I always had the ability to do that. Just like the Wizard of Oz, which we were talking about. You have that which you seek. All right, let's go into the center here, to the heart of the matter. The heart of the matter is the Six of Pentacles. And what's cool about this particular Six of Pentacles is it's not limited. There's more where that came from. And this is more a choice of how much to give to others, not about the limiting of your own resources. And so what I liked about this one versus the previous one is you can see the giver and the receivers. And you can also see that there's more than even the six that we see here. I feel like she can create more. She's being careful because she wants she wants the ability to get from the 6 to the 8 to the 9 to the 10 to the 10 to the king. So she's mindfully working towards more abundance. So don't give too much too often to too many people is really the message here. So with respect to partners, whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, whether it's a parent, whatever your partnership is, because I kind of left that open. Not everyone's in a relationship. So pick your key relationship. If you have a best friend, if you are really close with your family, or if you're in a love relationship, it will work for all of these. There needs to be more balance, and you don't have to give as much as you've been giving. It would be better, in fact, in some situations to sort of ask for what you need or set limits on how much someone takes, because then that sets you up to have the energy of the King of Pentacles. He's come through 3 times, actually, right? He just keeps coming through. So King or Queen of Pentacles, we just keep getting this card. But this is the second time he's come either as the center or the crossing card. So this is really, really important for you because it tells me you have this capacity to take care of yourself, to make something happen. So are you ready for that change to happen? What is it that's holding you back from that? Yeah, this is the 3rd time. I had to look at this. So we had the King of Pentacles here, and then we had the God of Pentacles here because I looked it up before, which is the King as well. That's uncanny. That's uncanny. So multiply 78 cards by 3, and you have a 1 in that many chance of that happening. So that's not normal. So this energy is around you. This is a very good energy to have in your life. Let's talk about the King of Pentacles since he's smacking me on my head here, coming through so many times. King of Pentacles rules the house and home. When I look at that, I think of the universal paternal energy. So we have universal mother. We also have universal father energy. This is a place of abundance, of richness. Sometimes this can be a little selfish. It depends on how it appears in the cards. Now, as an aspect of your own personality, because it's kind of sideways, it's telling me that the energy wants to come. You should be in a place where you're putting some energy back into your life. So this is why I saw graduation. Some of you may decide to finish something that you started. You may decide to go back and do something that you never did before. It's an investment card. So you're going to take something from here and put it here. And that's why we have like a reinvestment card with the Six of Pentacles in reverse. And then the King saying, yes, I'll take that. Yes, I'm ready for that. Yes, I can spin that into gold. I can do something with that. He has the Midas touch. He can be very benevolent and very giving as well. Since he's not reversed, let's assume that he is. So you can do a lot with what you're doing. And if you meet that kind of King of Pentacles energy, a mentor perhaps, they can really help you to get to that next level. But as a sort of floating energy around you, you can do anything you put your mind to within realistic expectations. No magical unicorns, nothing like that, but anything that you can kind of imagine, like in a tangible sense, I feel like you can make that happen, okay? We have the Two of Cups in the deep past. Two of Cups keeps coming through a lot. We had that also coming through in the Afro Goddess deck that I had as well. So with this particular card, and let's see, I was doing that with adjusting to changes in your life. So some of you are adjusting to a new relationship, a new friendship. And with this comes this sort of sense of, it's not just me anymore, because that is the selfish piece of the king. So if you've met someone that is an only child that has been living alone for a long time, if you're the person, even if you've had siblings that has been on your own for a while, or you're used to getting your way, suddenly there's someone else in the picture and you have to take them into account to like what's going on. And this is a good problem to have. And it's one that I feel like you can sort out, but it is a challenge, right? With this is not just your space. It's, together space now. There's a we where there was just a you before, right? So for many of you, that could be the challenge. Even if that's like a roommate situation, that counts. Or I'm so used to my dog now, but when I first got my puppy, I've had him for 4 years. He's about 5.5, 6 now because he's a rescue. I don't know the exact age. But I remember how weird it was that he would follow me everywhere. When I take a shower, he has to sit in the bathroom and watch me. When I go to the bathroom, he follows me there as well. When I'm cleaning the dishes, he sits here and like it's your shadow, right? So if you have a baby, the same thing is true. Your kid's gonna follow you everywhere. Your dog is gonna follow you everywhere and watch you while you shower. Your partner may now invade your space too. Your roommate could have some weird boundaries. And if you enter back into the workforce and you're used to not having people around you, you're gonna have to improve your manners and your sensitivity probably for, quiet, noise, and space. So I feel like that's the biggest thing is you love and want to be around people, but maybe you or they are hard to be around. So you're gonna do this in a kind and loving way. How can you express what you like, what you don't like? How can you have some space to yourself without making them feel like you're walking away? All of the above, right? Fairies may exist, but yes, I see people that are kind of having fun with what I was talking about with unicorns and everything. But anyway, with the Two of Cups, I would say for you, you just want to find a way to come at this with love, with peace, with joy, okay? Next piece, we have the Eight of Wands here. And what you focus on is what you're really bringing power to in your life. And when we're looking at intimacy, we're looking at communication. I think that you need to know kind of like how your partner factors in and how you factor into their bigger picture. Talking about the future, working together on things. You don't have to do this alone anymore. Like we saw the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles before when I was looking at changes. So you are not on your own anymore if you don't want to be. And you also can bring forth more changes in your life as well. So don't limit yourself. We even see here that although we only see the 8 wands, look at all the stars going out. So it's beyond the 10. There's even more that you're only as limited as you allow yourself to be. There is tunnel vision that's a part of this. So I would say try not to get sort of stuck. Don't have like your blinders on. The other thing I was just talking about, the Little Prince deck shows the 8 of Wands as a communal card. So sometimes we feel like we're lost in the shuffle. There could be a big family where there's a lot of loud voices. You could be someone who doesn't like talk all the time. And remember the pelican energy saying, just speak up. A lot of the times the people at work that get their ideas out there, they just talk a lot and suddenly they're seen as contributors, even if what they're saying isn't the best. If other people don't offer up new options, then that's never going to get challenged. So challenge the status quo. Remember, we saw the Hierophant in reverse. So this is a chance to kind of challenge the status quo as we were looking at the career and money stuff just a moment ago. So you have good ideas. So does your partner. Find a way to kind of like validate that. Don't get lost in the shuffle. Use your voice. This is kind of pulling in all of the messages today, plus the 8 of Wands here. We have the King of Cups in the crowning position. I like it. This is really good and really receptive for love energy in your life. This could be someone new coming in. You seem to be coming pretty consistently through as the King of Pentacles, because it's around the center every time that I'm looking at this. So I feel like that's you. So that's grounded, that's working on yourself, that's maybe taking what you need. Now we have someone in your life that's popping in and kind of may not be as grounded as you are in this moment, maybe a little bit more emotional, maybe a little less keen on always agreeing on this, and they kind of go with how they feel. So one of the challenges in relationships is working between this communication style of the grounded energy and the very emotional, feely sort of energy. So that's one of the challenges that you could be experiencing. As an aspect of yourself, I hope that you get to this point, because when we were looking at the career just a moment ago, we saw the Queen of Cups in reverse. So I'm happy to see now King, and I'm happy to see it upright. It feels like maybe relationships in your life, it's the one area where you can start to feel a sense of stability. So again, this includes friendships. This includes relationships with your brothers, sisters, or children. It doesn't have to just be sex or love. It's broadly speaking relationships. Show them how you feel. Let them know how you feel. This is something where the person needs to know where they stand. They want some validation. So give them some validation. Now we have the 5 of Wands in its reverse. Really interesting that we have Medusa on this particular deck. And hello, we're getting the same cards again and again. Have you noticed this? 3 different spreads. I didn't need a general today because we're getting a general throughout all of this. So in the near future, again, looking at intimacy and communication, this is about putting in the work. And this is about someone not putting in the work, because what does Medusa do? She turns things to stone. And with the card in reverse, there's someone who has frozen. They're doing just enough, but not much more. Or they're just kind of like, when it comes time to do the work, they kind of put their hands across their chest. They're like, I don't know if I want to do that. That is not good. And that has to change. So if there's anyone in your midst that is being this sort of Medusa, 5 of Wands, a really cool illustration and a very different take on this, then it's time to snap them out of it. Because there has to be this is teamwork. You put the 2 5s together and you have the 10 of Wands, you have happiness, you have abundance, things are moving. But if it's just one person and there's just a half octave, it's not enough. So we need to see someone step up their game a little bit. At least just a little bit of effort would bring them to the 6 of Wands, which is success, just a little bit. So we need to see a little bit more effort on maybe your part or their part, and things will start to shift. This can also be, again, I can't get away from Medusa when I'm looking at this, and I think that's purposeful. So sometimes we're afraid to do the work, because what is a gargoyle but frightening? She was once beautiful, if you ever look into mythology, but she was turned into what she is because of one of the gods got jealous. Anyway, isn't that always the story, right? So look beyond the scary piece and realize that there's still someone here that is probably receptive and probably just getting angry. So we have to kind of get past the fear, past this sort of, it feels like there's a standstill. So don't argue, try to reach out and touch that person in a sort of, in the heart space. Like, I love you, I know that this is hard, but let's do it together. You don't have to do it all alone. I don't want to do it all alone. And if the person still doesn't come through, then it's a warning sign. All right, let's move on to you and how you're showing up in the relationships here. I like this. This is a great card, the Sun. The Sun is a very charismatic and a very sort of energetic card. So if I see the Magician, shows me chemistry. If I see the Sun, it shows me this really big, sometimes it's almost too big, but a really big personality. So it's playful, it's childlike, it's fun, it's irreverent. The only thing that we want to be mindful of here is to make sure that if it's you, that you're spending enough time also tuning into the people around you, because the Sun's energy can be overpowering. And if it's someone else, that you, again, don't get lost in the shuffle, that they're paying attention to you as well. Because the sun can shine so brightly that sometimes it's not paying attention to what's around it. Or people get lost sometimes in that blaze. Now, if you happen to have someone in your life, maybe it's your partner, and they're wildly successful, they can feel like they're the sun sometimes too. But guess what? You are too, or you wouldn't be in their orbit. Because like attracts like. So you just shine in a different way. And you may not be like that outward bright thing, but you might be what keeps them together. There's gravity that pulls them towards you as well. So just because you can't see that you're this too. You know, you just have a different way of shining and a different way of showing it. So never underestimate your power, okay? You're doing something right if you're with someone successful. All right, so Princess of Swords in reverse, cutting to the point. Princess is a page, basically. So cutting to the point, I'm actually cool with the princess reversed because her energy is not too difficult to deal with. It's just sort of like, we know we need to do something. Let's do this. Are you on board? It's direct, but it's not saying something that hurts your feelings. So it feels like the way to kind of transmute the energy, especially if we have the Medusa, nothing's happening. Just say, let's get real. You know that you need to do more, or I know I need to do more here. Let's do this together. Let's cut this nonsense out and let's move forward. And let's do it because there's some fun things ahead and we're wasting our time on this, So you're choosing not to argue, but to work together and to kind of get past something. Nine of Cups. This has been popping up a lot too. So you're getting towards this really groovy looking Nine of Cups. This reminds me of something that I would see in the 70s. It literally looks like it popped out of a 70s illustration. But anyway, with this, it's really about finding your joy again and celebrating what's going on. And this is in the possibility space. So I feel like in relationships, getting to that place of really having some fun, focusing on the positive, not going overboard. Nine of Cups can sometimes go overboard, but hey, there are, like I said, we've survived a really tough year. So there should be some Nine of Cups moments to celebrate what's being done. And ultimately we have Judgment, and the Judgment card's upright. So what I see here is a choice. It feels like many of you are gonna choose that this is what you want, like this is worth it. Some of you may choose the other way. It's not reverse, which means that the decision has been made, the action is waiting on you. And so in this moment in time, I would say, do what your heart is guiding you to do. It's already the right thing. And if it is new love, by the way, I always look for the same level, which we have here. I don't necessarily want to see a king and queen in the same suit. I'd rather see two kings or two queens because it shows me you're on the right energetic level. So I feel like for some of you, it's just deciding, yeah, we can do it. Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but I'm ready for it. Or we've already been through the worst, we can get through this, etc. If you're at a point where the other person won't work, then you've said what you need, then you're going to choose happiness. And that's what we see here, and it's going to be okay. Either way, you know what to do. You don't have to overthink it. If you're still thinking, then there's something to kind of like, we'll dig into it as we look at the past, present, future influences here. Let's look at past, present, future. All right, looking at the past. For some of you, you've been waiting a long time for something to shift. We have the desert here, and the desert can kind of swallow us whole, but this desert card is reversed, which to me is a revelation, which is just like the Judgment card where things are coming up out of the ground. Same sort of thing here. We're seeing the energy emerge and emergence. So for you, it's a period of going from not enough to more than enough. That's why we see the Six of Pentacles and then the King of Pentacles at the center. So it's time to choose abundance. If there's anything in your life where it's still the desert, time to move beyond that. You're the Queen of Wands. You can create abundance in the desert, but you shouldn't have to exist solely in the desert. And I just kind of pulled that out because she is the queen where basically you'll see her in the desert. There's a flower growing. There's a little black cat by her saying that I can get through this. Even when things seem like they're at their worst, they're not. We have the Eternal Child coming through. Hello, this is very close to what we saw before. So with the Eternal Child here, this is reclaiming something. And maybe for some of you, it is important to have a child. I mean, this is, we have a couple of baby cards here. The sun can be a baby card too. So if that's important, that's something that you want to go after, that's fine. But for the rest of us, this is about really saying, you know what, I'm ready now to do this in my life. I feel like some of you are at a bold sort of area where you're ready to try something new. And so don't be afraid to do that. This is the right time. And we see so many birthing cards in this particular three spread collection that I've done today, especially that last Empress card that I feel like now is definitely the time to do that. So let's see if I can pull it up real quick here. But yeah, the center card before with the Empress here, it's definitely the time. So Whatever it is that you're trying to do, this partner, this friend, this other energy in your life should be supportive of that. And then we have the creator as the final card. So I really do feel like this is your time to find your power. So as I said before, there doesn't have to be sort of just one star in a relationship. Most star systems out there are 2 or 3 star systems. We're in one of those rare exceptions where there's a single star as the sun. So just realize that you both can be wildly successful in very different ways. You both could be shining in very different ways, and that's a good thing. So there's always room. We should be lifting each other up. We should all feel really successful. I like what I see here. So let's look at a quick mini review on this. We'll meditate and I'll answer your final question here. Time to come out of this desert of things not happening. It's time to take what you already have. Remember what we saw before where there was that internal medallion. This is the same as the medallion, but you're actually going to birth it. You're going to do something with it. And then creatively deciding, like, I'm going to make something out of this experience that I've been through. I'm going to make this into something wonderful. So taking the desert and creating something cool, because we're taking that hand, and you see it here again, sort of drawing and doing something more than. So yeah, I see good things here. Let me just recap some of the messages that we talked about here as we look at the cards in front of us. So you already are capable of giving and receiving love. There is some sort of echoes from the past that are popping through that could make you feel less than, but this is a time to reclaim that and to realize, you know what, I actually have more than that. And that's why we went from the 5 of Pentacles to the 6 of Pentacles, because this person went through time, kind of grabbed that extra pentacle and pulled it into the present. We have gotten the King of Pentacles 3 times. So this is a time to make yourself feel at home, to launch a business, to really start a family if you want to, even though it's paternal, that can work both ways. It's time to really see growth and abundance set in. And you're going to amp it up from the 6 of Pentacles to the King. And we also have the 9 in the previous spread. So lots of good stuff going on here. Many of you are just getting used to reconnecting with people, which we talked about a couple of times. You don't want to get lost in the shuffle. You want to express yourself and validate the other person and how they're connecting with you. Both sides need to put in the work. If they get frozen, if any side is frozen, that's the key block that I see for many of you. And that's going to be the deciding factor. If the other person doesn't want to put in the work, then you can do better elsewhere, in friends, in love, interests, etc., and work, all of that. You're coming through really bright and strong. They may be as well. Remember what I said with twin stars. Twin star systems, binary star systems are very popular and very frequent when we look at astronomy, not just astrology, but astronomy. So you're coming through this way, and you might be calling in someone with that same energy, which is why we got 2 kings. Just get to the point, right? Get to the point, say what you need to do, get to the good part, because it feels like it's time. And then the decision's already been made. It's just a matter of you going into it. Choose abundance, do something with that, give birth to what it is, have some fun. And then remember, you are the creator. You've always had the capacity to create and to bring forth more abundance in your life. Okay, so that's that. Let's go ahead and reset the cards, and we're going to do a mini meditation. And then I'm going to answer your silent question that you may have for me. And for the silent question, it can be anything. We've covered a bunch of areas here. The things that I didn't have a chance to look at was health and well-being. I think we kind of covered naturally relationships in the intimacy and communication. So all of the topics that I had people vote on kind of got covered here today. But if there's something that I didn't have a chance to ask, this is your chance to think about that. Before I do it, for those of you that joined late, if you haven't already subscribed, consider hitting the subscription button. It doesn't mean that you have to do anything. It's the same as follow, even though YouTube chose a poor word for that. If you'd like to get reminded notifications, you can click the bell icon. That's the only thing that's going to somehow send you something. And then thumbs up costs nothing. You can only do it once per video, but it helps me a lot. Thank you. I saw a whole bunch of super stickers and super chat messages. I will read it all later. I appreciate it, and it helps me buy all the new decks that you saw here today. If you'd like to follow me on social media, here you go. Here are all the different platforms. I'm pretty much Nicholas Ashbaugh on everything except Twitter, which is @Ashbaugh. And you can go to my pinned comment and follow the link there if you'd like to connect with me, because I will post these index cards that I wrote later, probably by tomorrow, because I have a lot that I have to summarize from yesterday and today. And that's everything. If you happen to watch on replay, you can use the applaud button. It's another way to give back, and it's right by thumbs up, thumbs down. I think it's on Android, but not iOS. So hopefully they'll eventually roll that out everywhere. All right, let's meditate quickly. This will take about 1.5 to 2 minutes. And then we're going to go into the final question of today. So again, for those of you that will ask later for timestamps, give me time. I will put them up. It just takes a little time to go through and do all of that. So for the meditation today, since King of Pentacles wanted to come through like so many times, why don't we meditate on the King of Pentacles? And the King of Pentacles usually is shown in a nice lush environment. I like this one here that we saw in this particular deck. So we see someone here that has created their own bounty, their own sort of abundance. And you can imagine that you are in the forest, that you are holding on to the trees, or you're sitting by this beautiful garden and you're just watching it grow. And as you connect with all of the beautiful green energy around you, you can literally start to, instead of the Midas touch, it's like the green touch, green thumb. You can touch the tree, you can touch the flower, you can touch the grass, and you can start to feel this beautiful green energy flow through your body, flow through your brains, your veins and your brains, until it starts to connect with every cell in your body. So let's close our eyes and take a few deep breaths. So with your eyes closed, I just want you to see yourself cocooning in this green light, and see it everywhere, every cell, every part of your body. Just see beautiful green light and green energy coursing through your every cell and every vein. Nice deep breath, inhale. Let go. Allow your thoughts to become lighter. Allow your mind to start to drift. Sit back on the grass if you would like, and allow yourself to just be supported, feeling each and every blade supporting you, loving you, and again, sort of feeding your mind, body, and spirit with this beautiful, bright green light. Green is the color of your heart space. It's the color of growth. It's the color of money and abundance. And it's reaching into each and every part of your life right now, allowing for that love and abundance to take hold, to take shape. And as you breathe and meditate and listen to this singing bowl, I want you to imagine, as you're looking up at the clouds, that you can start to see the shape of things in your future. So if you want to see the face of a partner, the face of a business, the face of something that you're trying to see through to fruition, see that starting to take shape in the sky above you. A complement to the green now, you see the beautiful bright blue sky and these white clouds contrasting against that, creating the shape almost like a daytime constellation of whatever it is that you want in your life now. Take a final deep breath. Looking up at the clouds, feeling light, feeling brighter, allowing the colors in your auric field to start to come back into a normal sort of hue, but still keeping that green energy in your heart space. Feeling that your throat has also received a healing, that you can feel that your voice is louder and stronger, richer, more capable of saying what it needs to say when it needs to say it. You can gently open your eyes if you haven't already. Take a moment just to ground the energy before we look at the final question. Put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on top of that. and just give yourself thanks and gratitude for showing up today. Feel that heat, feel the energy as you're doing that as well. I can definitely feel the vibration that we changed. Basically, we shifted things a little bit between the start time and the end time of this reading. All right, let's take a look now at your question that you have for me. All you have to do is think it, don't type it out. This can be anything that you're looking for in your life. Let me just pull a different deck for this one because I want something that's a different energy. So just think about it and I will start shuffling the cards. Let's see which one. Okay, we're going to use this one. All right. So yeah, just form the question in your head and let me see what the universe wants to bring forth for you as the answer. All right, we have the King of Wands in reverse. This is a really cool illustration here. We can see that bird getting ready to take flight. It looks like is that a peacock? Well, it's kind of a combination of the two because we can see that it's almost like a phoenix too because of all the fire there. All right, so with this King of Wands, generally speaking, kings and queens would be yeses to a yes-no question. One thing that you want to be mindful of with this is, much as we talked about earlier, I think we had maybe a knight or something earlier, but you want to keep an open mind. And sometimes when there's this high of a card in reverse, I would warn you to check in with others before acting. King of Wands sometimes just acts before speaking. So I would say vet out assumptions, ask a question, validate assumptions before taking action, and then it looks pretty good. If I'm going to pick a good boss card, I would choose this one. This is a born leader, King of Wands. You know, the King of Pentacles, which came through so many times for you, is basically showing your ability to be resourceful and to develop and to create. And so I'm not so worried about that because it came through so many times. So this is about leading and following through and also kind of like walking that walk, not just talking the talk. So as long as you have checked your assumptions and as long as you are not forcing people to kind of like try to see something from your perspective, I think you're okay. I just see bold ideas, bold leadership, and things moving in the right direction. Sometimes you have to be the boss though. So sometimes if people will not listen, let's say it's moving day and there's things that need to get moved and that everyone's a mess, just say, listen, this is what we have to do this, do this. So it is a take charge kind of card. So if you're ready to take charge, the moment is ripe. It's a good time. The only thing that I would say for you is to really kind of check in and make sure that people are communicating whatever it is that they need to communicate. So if there's a concern, a fear, an uncertainty, let's get that out and then let's get back to work. Okay? Mostly this is a yes, but there is an opportunity to just check assumptions, and that's the main thing that I get with that. So hopefully today was helpful. You enjoyed this different format. I break format on the bonus one just about every month. So sometimes I will it'll be a Q&A. Sometimes I'll focus on areas that we vote on, like today. The format changes quite a bit every month as well. So this bonus one is kind of special. It doesn't get often as many people, but I feel like it's fun. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below, maybe what you'd like to see in future bonus readings. And join me this Sunday and we'll do a more traditional take on my energy check-in. And I'll do sort of a general for everyone, typical format. And hopefully you can show up then. It'll be 9 a.m. Sunday. And then I'll be starting the next round of videos probably next Thursday. And I'll announce the dates probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. So follow me on social media if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being present today. Again, here are my social media links. If you'd like them, you can click on the pinned comment above. If you enjoy science fiction or fantasy, you can also check out my book. It's called The Luminous Ones, and it's listed prominently on my website. So feel free to check that out if you'd like to. And otherwise, thank you so much for showing up today. One last time, if you haven't hit subscribe, please do it. You only can do that once, so don't unsubscribe if you've subscribed. But if you've never subscribed, please consider doing that. And we got a lot of likes today, so thank you so much. That really will help people discover it later. So much love and light to all of you. Have a fantastic weekend. This is being broadcast on a Friday, so enjoy the weekend ahead. Happy end of Mercury retrograde. It's time to take action. It's time to do some stuff. So yay to that and yay to the weekend ahead. All right. Lots of love and light. Thanks, Maria, for your help as well today. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you on the weekend. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.